Welcome to IQ Learner's Jamb tutorial class. Today we'll be treating 2017 Jamb past question 1 to 10. To get more solved questions like this, kindly visit iqlearners.com. Visit iqlearners.com. Thank you. Number 1. The matured sex cell which takes part in sexual reproduction is referred to as a matured sex cell that takes part in sexual reproduction, of course, is referred to as the gamete. The male gamete is the sperm cell, the female gamete is the ovum or the egg cell. The answer is not fetus, because fetus is the product of a fertilized egg. It is not embryo and it is not zygote. So the answer is A, gamete. Number 2. The biome that is characterized with large herbivores, few and scattered fire-resistant trees is, we have the forest, which is characterized by large tall trees, and the desert, which is characterized by a vast dry land. Now, in between the desert and the forest exists an intermediate biome known as the savanna. The savanna contains shrubs or fire-resistant trees, not tall trees, just short trees. They are called shrubs, and it has scattered grasses. And because it has trees, short trees and scattered grasses, there are animals there that feed on grasses alone, and those animals are known as herbivores. So the answer is not tropical rainforest, because it is not characterized by very tall trees. It is not montane forest, and it is not a desert. The answer is A, savanna. Number 3. Red blood cells are also known as dash. Another name for red blood cells is called erythrocytes. Mature red blood cells are called erythrocytes. The immature red blood cells are called reticulocytes. It takes about 3 months for red blood cells produced by the bone marrow to mature before they can be called erythrocytes. So, A is erythrocyte, which is the correct one. B says thrombocyte. No, thrombocyte is a type of white blood cells. Phagocyte is also a type of white blood cell. Leukocyte is also a type of white blood cells. So the answer is A, erythrocyte. Number 4. The joint between the femur and tibia is known as it is not a ball and socket joint, because a ball and socket joint requires only minimal movement within the socket. It is not a pivot joint, because pivot joints are free and movable like the neck and the wrist. It is not a gliding joint, because gliding joints are only glide over each other, e.g. the carpals and the fingers. But a hinge joint moves only in one plane, in one direction. It moves 180 degrees, like the joint of the elbow, the joint of the knee. Now, the knee is the joint between the femur, that's the thigh bone, and the tibia, the leg bone. The femur and the tibia meet at the knee joint, and that knee joint can only be bent backwards and cannot be bent forward. So it is 180 degrees movement, and that is a hinge joint. The answer is A. Number 5. What is the primary function of cofactors? What is the primary functions of cofactors? Cofactors are known to enhance the function of enzymes. Enzymes' functions is to increase digestion rate and absorption of food substances. So, now enzymes are known to increase the rate of digestion, so they act like catalysts. However, there is another set of substance that catalyze the action of enzymes. So it's like saying a catalyst helping out another catalyst. That's why they are called cofactors. So their function is not to synthesize enzymes. Enzymes are produced on their own, and their function is not to inhibit enzymes. They do not stop the functions of enzymes, and they do not break down old enzymes. Their function is to aid in enzyme function, that is to support the function of enzymes, and that is A. So number 5 is A. Do not forget that to get more soft questions like this, kindly visit iqlearners.com. iqlearners.com. So number 6, use the diagram below to answer the question that follow. The diagram is not there in the question. I don't know why it is so, but there is a blank space above number 6 that is supposed to be for a diagram. So since the diagram is not there, we cannot guess what the answer would be. Number 7 says coloration of the eye is dash variation. Coloration of the eye is dash variation. There are 2 types of variation: the physiological variation and the morphological variation. The physiological variation has to do with genetic buildup of functions of special organs and special abilities within the body, while morphological variation has to do with physical structure and outlook. So coloration of the eye is not a special ability, it is just how you look physically. There is nothing like adaptive variation, and there is nothing like recessive variation. So it is not physiological variation. Examples of physiological variation include the ability to roll one eye while the other eye is standing stagnant. Another is the ability to roll the tongue to whistle. Another one is the ability to be able to detect the taste of phenylthiocarbamide. That chemical is called phenylthiocarbamide. It's called PTC. Not everybody can detect the taste. So the ability to even play football is physiological. Not everybody can do that. But talking about physical attributes that one can see, like standing, the posture, color, complexion, height, weight, coloration of the eye, are all examples of morphological variation. So the answer is B. Number 8 says, which of the following choices correctly describes the composition of the cell membrane? Which of the following choices correctly describes the composition of the cell membrane? The cell membrane is found in animal cell and unicellular organisms. It is high in surface area to volume ratio because it is permeable and allows nutrients to move from within out and from out into it. So number A says it contains only lipids. No. Yes, it contains lipids, but not only lipids. B says it contains lipids and protein. Yes. C says contains lipids and cytosol. Yes, it contains lipids, but cytosol is the cytoplasm within the cell. So the cytoplasm or the cytosol is not part of the cell membrane. D says contains only proteins. No, it doesn't contain only protein, and it doesn't contain only lipids. It contains both. So the answer is B, lipids and protein. Number 9, the feeding relationship among a set of members of a community is referred to as. The answer is not food web, because food web is obtained from food chain. Food web is a conglomerate of food chain. The answer is not pyramid of energy, because it is talking about feeding relationship, not transfer of energy. And it is not pyramid of member. The answer is C, a food chain. For example, A cockroach can be fed upon by a lizard, while a snake can feed on a lizard. And that snake that feeds on a lizard can be fed on by man, or even fed on by a hawk. So that feeding relationship is called a food chain. The answer is C. Number 10. Nitrogen is released into the atmosphere when plants absorb mineral salts. No. Plants absorb a lot of different kind of minerals from the soil, and it's not only nitrogen. And when you absorb, of course, you are depleting the soil of its nutrients. You are not adding nutrients to it, and that doesn't mean nutrient is added to the atmosphere. B says sugar is completely broken down. No. Nitrogen has nothing to do with sugar. Sugar involves carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Nitrogen is not involved. C says through plant uptake. No. And D says when lightning strike. Yes. When there is thunder or lightning strike, naturally nitrogen is released into the atmosphere. So the answer is D. Please, for more solved questions like this, kindly visit iqlearners.com. Thank you.